We are back. Thanks for joining us on this Monday. Morning Line. With us is News Channel 5 Chief Investigative Reporter Phil Williams talking about his revealed investigation, the very latest on the Hillsdale College controversy and the like. And we'll get to the phone calls here in a moment. But real quick, Phil, after the story broke to this degree and the video was out there, individual school districts, right, can vote on whether or not they want to allow this charter school into their district. Is that how that works? And at least 3 so far have voted, say, no, we don't want it.
Yeah, Hillsdale was starting out with 3 applications.
Okay.
One in Jackson, Madison County over in West Tennessee. Clarksville, Montgomery County was the second one, and then Rutherford County Schools was the third.
Okay.
Within this about a week or so after our stories aired, all 3 school districts rejected their applications, saying that they did not, meet the minimum qualifications to open a charter school. Now, in Tennessee, under Bill Lee, that is not the end of the story, because he pushed through something called the Tennessee Public Charter School Commission with the authority to overrule local
And this commission
governments.
is composed of members appointed by the governor.
Handpicked by the governor.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Pro-charter people with long histories of being in favor of charter schools. And so Hillsdale, or the group affiliated with Hillsdale, has now appealed to the Charter Commission. There will be public hearings September 14th, 15th, and 16th, I think, in each of those areas where people can chime in and give their views on whether this school is needed, whether it's right for their district. And then in October, the commission will vote whether to accept or reject the appeal.
So what we have to understand here is, while these school districts have already voted down against it, and they may come out and talk about it at these public hearings, even though that's been decided there, it's out of their control, this commission can still then say, no, we're overruling that, Hillsdale can go there.
Exactly.
So it would be a moot point.
Right. And essentially, you have a situation that it's not clear why even bother really putting a lot of energy in with the locals. For example, in Rutherford County and in Montgomery County, we were there for both votes. No one from the school, the Hillsdale affiliated school, even bothered showing up for the vote.
Yeah, so they figure, why bother, because the fix is in.
Right.
And the Tennessee Public Charter School Commission was created under this governor, or it's new?
It was, I think, reconstituted, but yes, these are his appointees.
And there's no recourse if they decide, yes, it has to go here, and this school district doesn't want it?
None.
I guess the recourse is, if it doesn't want it, parents, they can't force you to send your kid there, that's for sure. So maybe no one goes.
Right.
But who knows? Yeah, okay. Let's take a phone call or two. We'll go to Ann real quick. Ann, good morning. Hi, Ann.
Good morning. First, let me thank you for doing this story. And since you did it, I have been doing my homework on Hillsdale. And I can't stress enough to people to research Hillsdale. I had 2 children go through charter schools here in Davidson County, and I was opposed to it at first, very opposed to it, but my younger grandson with autism could not have excelled in the Metro program. I worked there for 20 years, and I really believe that. He graduated and got a full scholarship to Vanderbilt, and that would not have happened in a regular Metro classroom. But the radical concept of Hillsdale crosses over the boundaries of public education, and there is no room for it. And if you look at Florida and what is going on there, and you listen to the national news, you see that Bill Lee is being touted as the forefront runner of 50 charter schools for Hillsdale. And it is on CNN, it is on NBC, it is on Fox. And Bill Lee is being touted as the forerunner of this program with 50 schools already planned for our state. Carte blanche, no questions asked. He's endorsing this program all over the country. And if you turn on the national news, that's what you hear. So I'm telling people, thank you, Phil Williams, and research Hillsdale. This fundamental concept has no place in our state, and Bill Lee is crossing over the state boundary lines for what should be in public schools. Look at Florida.
Yep. Okay, I'm sorry. I guess we lost her. I may have hit the button by accident, but point taken. She knows her stuff and does, looking into things. What do you think?
Yeah, Governor Lee is obviously very fond of this, what he calls American exceptionalism approach.
Okay.
That, teaching that, America was ordained by God and that, America has a unique place in world history. When it comes down to the fine details of what that they teach, for example, about civil rights, he has shown no obvious sign. There are no obvious signs that he actually knows the details of what they teach.
Yeah, you've talked to him, I know, several times about this. I'm trying to see, aside from what you just said there, that he kind of believes in some of their curriculum, are there other motivations here that you've been able to pick up on as to why Bill Lee has thrown his support behind this so specifically in such a high-profile manner?
Well, I think it's clear that he wants to move the state toward a more privatized form of education, at least having more charter schools.
But there's lots of charter schools. Why Hillsdale? Why?
Well, again, it is this notion that Hillsdale teaches that America is unique, and that it's basically this notion of we have to raise patriots who believe that our founding was inspired by God.
But what you say there, I think a lot of people would say, well, America is unique, and I think most of us can agree there's a uniqueness there, and it's good to be a patriot. The issue here, it seems to me, what you're talking about is they want to just talk about the good, and there's a lot of good things about this country, and whitewash a lot of the negatives and pretend civil rights and moving forward was not. And if my kid, I'm not sending my kid to a school that's only telling one side of the story, and that's what the problem is here.
Yeah, I mean, with the civil rights movement, for example, that they teach that Dr. Martin Luther King believed in appealing to conscience and not to laws to make change. That is just 100% false, because he pushed for the Civil Rights Law. He pushed for the Voting Rights Act. And to teach students that Dr. King only appealed to conscience and not to law is just a falsehood.
Right.
It's a lie.
Yep. And that's why it concerns people like Ann and many others. And let's see what Stacy thinks. Stacy, good morning. Hi, Stacy.
Good morning. It's Stacy Harris calling. And when Phil mentioned Hillsdale, my ears perked up. Actually, when the governor mentioned it in his State of the State speech, because Hillsdale was a sponsor of Paul Harvey's in the final years of Harvey's radio career, and he always mixed news and comment, and if you weren't discerning, maybe you couldn't tell one from the other. And the way Hillsdale kind of edged into the reader or the listener's consciousness was they would always offer copies of the Constitution or whatever, pocket copies if you just wrote them or whatever. And I did that, and if you did that, you got on their mailing list, and so it was quite an interesting education, if you will. And I'm wondering if I might have missed something in Phil's reporting about how Hillsdale got on Governor Lee's radar. And I would like to say about Governor Lee that when you call his office for constituent services, he's the first governor's constituent services office that I've ever tried to reach that I could never get, they promise that somebody will return your phone call or whatever, but things just never go anywhere there. And one final thing, I think everybody, this may seem a little bit off topic, but it's kind of related because, CNN's reliable sources went off the air yesterday. That left Holly Kurtz and Fox's Media Buzz the only media critics that we have at the national level, which I think it really behooves Scripps to kind of step up and at the local level and, get more of a budget to this sort of thing, because I have voiced certain things to those programs in the past, and also to Dan Abrams at News Nation. You cannot really get anything of local nature to national attention unless you go through the local affiliates.
Okay. Stacey, thank you for your call. Good call.
Yeah, and the thing she asked about it was how did Hillsdale
Sure.
get on Bill Lee's radar? Governor Lee spoke at Hillsdale in February 2020, I believe, right before the pandemic started. And again, as I mentioned before, Hillsdale is well known within the MAGA circles of the Republican Party. DeSantis has gone up to Hillsdale to speak. A number of former Trump administration officials are regular speakers at Hillsdale. And so within that wing of the Republican Party, Hillsdale is well known. And it's sort of like if you want to run for president, you go and visit New Hampshire and you go and visit Iowa. Well, you also go and visit Hillsdale.
So, yeah, if you read between the lines there, we talk about why the interest here. He may believe in it on top of it, but for our governor, it may be a means in his mind, in the minds of others, of positioning himself for national office. Maybe a VP designation or something along those lines.
Certainly, but to be talked about within those circles these days, it requires a trip to Hillsdale.
Interesting. We'll take a break on that note. We have more phone calls for you, Phil, and of course we're going to preview the very next step in this special investigation under Revealed from Phil coming up tonight that you won't want to miss. We'll have more on that coming back right after this.